In the serene landscapes of Arunachal Pradesh, a significant debate is unfolding, a debate that intertwines the preservation of indigenous cultures, the rights to religious freedom, and the path to development. At the heart of this discourse is the Arunachal Pradesh Freedom of Religion Act of 1978, commonly known as APFRA. This legislation, dormant for decades, has recently resurfaced, igniting discussions and protests across the state. To understand the current scenario, we must journey back to 1977, when the Supreme Court of India delivered a landmark judgment in the case of Reva Stanislaus v. the state of Madhya Pradesh. This ruling upheld state laws regulating religious conversions, emphasizing that while individuals have the right to propagate their religion, this does not include the right to convert others through force, fraud, or inducement. Inspired by this judgment, Arunachal Pradesh enacted APFRA in 1978, aiming to protect its indigenous communities from coercive conversions. Fast forward to February 2025, the Arunachal Christian Forum, ACF, organized an 8-hour hunger strike, drawing thousands, including several members of the Legislative Assembly. Their demand, the complete repeal of APFRA, which they describe as discriminatory and unconstitutional. The ACF argues that the act infringes upon the fundamental right to freedom of faith and belief, as enshrined in Article 25 of the Indian Constitution. In response, Chief Minister Pema Khandu has urged citizens not to misinterpret APFRA, stating that it's
अपना इंडिजिनियस का कल्चर को और भी मजबूत बनाने के लिए ये रूल बन रहा है एंड वी ऑल आर इंडिजिनियस हमारा चाहे रिलीजन बैकग्राउंड अलग अलग हो सकता है इसको मिस इंटरप्रेट करके एक रिलीजन दूसरा रिलीजन का अगेंस्ट में वो आग लगा के तेल लगा के इस तरह से करना ये बहुत ही गलत है.
Primary objective is to preserve the state's rich cultural heritage and that it is not directed against any particular religion. He has also assured that consultations will be held to address misconceptions surrounding the act. It's essential to recognize that Arunachal Pradesh enjoys special protections under the Indian Constitution. Article 371H grants the governor special responsibility regarding law and order in the state, considering its unique social and cultural context. This provision aims to safeguard the rights and traditions of indigenous communities, ensuring that any legislation aligns with their cultural ethos. While the discourse around APFRA is pivotal, many voices from within the state emphasize the pressing need for infrastructural development. Arunachal's challenging terrains have resulted in roads that are often in disrepair, hindering connectivity and economic growth. Improving road infrastructure is not just about ease of travel, it's a lifeline for remote communities, facilitating access to education, healthcare, and markets. Moreover, Arunachal Pradesh boasts breathtaking landscapes, from the snow-capped peaks of Tawang to the lush valleys of Zero. These natural wonders position the state as a potential tourism hotspot. However, inadequate infrastructure, including roads and hospitality services, has stymied this sector's growth. Investing in tourism could diversify the state's economy, create employment opportunities, and promote cultural exchange. Another pressing issue is the rising inflation in Arunachal Pradesh. The state's geographical isolation means that goods often have to be transported over long distances, increasing costs. Coupled with limited local production capacities, residents face high prices for essential commodities. Addressing these economic challenges requires a multifaceted approach, including boosting local agriculture, improving supply chain efficiencies, and implementing supportive economic policies. The intersection of religious freedom, cultural preservation, and development has inevitably led to political debates. Some critics accuse the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, of employing divide and rule tactics, suggesting that the emphasis on APFRA's implementation might be a strategy to divert attention from developmental issues. These allegations highlight the complex interplay between governance, cultural identity, and political strategy in the region. The crux of the APFRA debate centers on the interpretation of the right to freedom of religion. While Article 25 guarantees the freedom to profess, practice, and propagate religion, the Supreme Court's interpretation in the Reverend Stanislaus case clarifies that this does not include the right to convert others forcibly. APFRA aligns with this interpretation, aiming to prevent conversions achieved through coercion or inducement. However, opponents argue that the act, in practice, may impede genuine voluntary conversions, thereby infringing upon personal liberties. A recent panel discussion on Arun Bhoomi channel brought together representatives from the BJP, Congress, Christian communities and indigenous groups to deliberate on APFRA. The BJP spokesperson reiterated the government's stance, emphasizing the Act's role in protecting indigenous cultures. In contrast, the Congress representative called for a more nuanced approach, suggesting amendments to the Act to balance cultural preservation with individual rights. Leaders from the Christian community voiced concerns over potential misuse of the Act, fearing it could lead to unwarranted restrictions on religious practices. Indigenous representatives highlighted the importance of safeguarding their ancestral traditions from external influences. The discussion underscored the need for continuous dialogue to navigate the complexities surrounding APFRA. Everything has its own pros and cons. As we all know, in my opinion, if the government is implementing something, it should do so only after considering every single perspective. It shouldn't focus on just one side, but rather take a balanced approach. I also believe that preserving culture is crucial because it defines the people of Arunachal, their identity and their origin. Ultimately, no outsiders will come and perform your cultural traditions. It is your responsibility to keep them alive and pass them on to future generations. However, simply preserving culture on paper or in law will not be enough. There should be regular awareness camps, perhaps every week, to educate and engage the younger generation. As we all know, today's kids are highly influenced by modern and foreign cultures. If we truly want to protect our traditions, we need to actively involve the youth, ensuring they understand the significance of their heritage and feel proud to uphold it. The debates surrounding the Arunachal Pradesh Freedom of Religion Act of 1978 encapsulate broader themes of cultural preservation, religious freedom, and development. As Arunachal Pradesh stands at these crossroads, it becomes imperative for all stakeholders, government entities, religious organizations, political parties, and the citizenry to engage in open, empathetic, and informed dialogues. Such collaborative efforts are essential to forge a path that honors the state's rich cultural tapestry while upholding the fundamental rights of every individual. We encourage our viewers to delve deeper into this topic, engage in community discussions, and contribute to a harmonious and progressive Arunachal Pradesh. Your voice matters in shaping the future.